Not all of the darkest and strangest corners of the universe exist in distant galaxies millions of light years away. In fact, the most mysterious of these dark places is right here on Earth. A place with no sunlight, crushing pressure, and near-freezing temperatures is not a desolate wasteland. Surprisingly, it is populated with a huge variety of life. Life that takes shape in ways our terrestrial minds can barely comprehend. Some creatures of the deep have enormous piercing eyes. Others have no eyes at all, while some have eyes inside their transparent domed heads. Others glow for defense or for predation. At these depths, where photosynthesis cannot occur, the food chain becomes unpredictable. Some creatures, typically classified as filter feeders, have evolved into terrifying carnivores, or have teeth that pierce the darkness in every direction. From the ethereal to the spooky, the dark sea holds a world of adaptations that jar the imagination. And the deeper you go, the creepier it seems to get. What is it exactly about the deep, dark sea that creates such wild creatures? And is there a reason we can't help but find them bone-chillingly creepy? The uppermost layer of the deep sea is the mesopelagic, or the twilight zone. It extends from 200 meters to 1,000 meters. A little bit of light still penetrates at these depths, but not much. The very first color to disappear is red, as it has the longest wavelength. This means many creatures in the twilight zone evolve to be shades of red. This adaptation renders them practically invisible at these depths. Catching a glimpse of it in the lights of a submersible, you might see why it got such a ghastly name. On top of its red skin, it has enormous eyes that seem to glow, and spine-like protrusions from its tentacles give it a fearsome look. Despite its spooky name, vampire squids are not bloodthirsty hunters. Unlike almost all other cephalopods, this creature is a detriver. It gets almost all of its calories from marine snow. It consists of decaying crustaceans, zooplankton, larvacean houses, diatoms, and fecal matter. The vampire squid has 4 arm pairs with finger-like tendrils called cirri, plus 2 long retractable filaments. It sits practically motionless around depths of 600 to 900 meters, slowly collecting marine snow on its mucus-laden filaments and slurping it. Scientists were surprised to discover that marine snow has a surprisingly high nutritional value. However, the vampire squid doesn't have much energy to expend. As you descend deeper, cephalopods become even more terrifying. The genus Magnapina, or bigfin squid, is thought to be the deepest occurring squid genus. They have been cited as deep as 6,212 meters. This makes the big finnet squid the only known squid to occupy the Haddle zone. Their arms and tentacles can be up to 8 meters long, usually held at right angles. This gives the squid the appearance of having elbows. Little is known about the feeding behavior of these squids. Scientists speculate they might use their long arms to drag along the sea floor. Alternatively, the arms might passively catch food, like zooplankton or marine snow, in an environment without plant life to form the base of the food chain. Being a detrivore is far from the only strategy. In fact, some organisms that are herbivores or filter feeders in shallower waters become carnivores in the deep sea. This is true for the predatory tunicate, which belongs to the Ascidian family, also known as sea squirts. These creatures generally live in shallow water. They might even live deeper than that. These tunicates are perhaps less terrifying than the bigfin squid, but just as strange. They resemble eyeless sock puppets with their mouths open. This unusual design serves an important purpose to catch prey. As small invertebrates and crustaceans swim by, they can drift into the tunicate's mouth. The mouth quickly snaps shut, trapping the prey for digestion. This behavior is also seen in a family of organisms known as carnivorous sponges. These sponges start appearing at 200 meters and become common at 400 to 500 meters. They remain dominant all the way down to the Haddle zone, below 6,000 meters. Shallow water sponge species are filter feeders living on bacteria and phytoplankton. But you definitely do not want to wash yourself with a carnivorous sponge. They're covered in tiny spears and hooks, used to passively trap small swimming creatures. The sponges don't have to do much work, whether it's the harp sponge with long rows of spines, or the ping-pong tree sponge with its bulbous spheres. Stationary organisms are highly effective predators, waiting patiently for ocean currents to sweep creatures into their spines. Despite the abundance of passive carnivores, many hunters thrive in the deep sea. One startling specimen is the gulper eel, found at depths over 1,800 meters in the midnight zone. Its mouth is larger than the rest of its body, loosely hinged to swallow larger prey. Though off-putting, this adaptation is crucial in an environment with limited food. The gulper eel's mouth can balloon to an incredible size, making it look intimidating. However, the most infamous among deep-sea hunters is the anglerfish. Most anglerfish live below 300 meters, but some can be found down to 6,000 meters. There are hundreds of anglerfish species named for their unique hunting method. Anglerfish hunt using a lure attached to their heads to attract prey. This lure consists of an elysium, a modified dorsal spine acting as a fishing rod, and an esca, the bulbous bioluminescent lure glowing with symbiotic bacteria. Using these lures, anglerfish attract various prey species to their gaping mouths. They are known to consume absurd quantities of food at once. Researchers once captured a black sea devil that weighed 8.8 grams, but its stomach held 12.3 grams of eels. In other words, its stomach contained 1.5 times its body weight in food. To consume whatever they encounter, anglerfish have highly flexible jaws. Their inward-pointing teeth ensure that prey has little chance of escaping. Like the gulper eel, their gorging strategy is advantageous in a food-scarce environment. While some creatures use bioluminescence for predation, others use it for disguise. However, some predators have adapted ways to see prey that camouflage themselves. Perhaps the most incredible is Macropina microstoma, the Pacific barley fish. This fish possesses enormous tubular eyes directed upward, allowing it to see prey swimming above. These eyes are encased inside its head, closed off by a transparent shield. Their vision allows them to detect silhouettes of prey, even those using bioluminescence. They can also gauge the depth of their prey, determining their distance. Initially, scientists were puzzled about how barley fish could effectively hunt. Their tiny mouth points in a direction different from their eyes, raising questions. Scientists realize the eyes can roll forward, allowing a wide field of vision. They can see through the front and top of their heads, achieving a 75-degree arc. For comparison, humans can only move our eyes about 45 degrees at most. This adaptation keeps barley fish focused on prey, even while snapping their bodies. They live in the twilight zone, where a small amount of light is available. But what about fish dwelling even deeper, in the abyssal regions down to 6,000 meters? In these depths, sunlight doesn't penetrate, and some creatures forgo vision entirely. Take the tripod fish, which balances on the seafloor like a little tripod. It waits for other creatures to swim by, using its fins to remain motionless. Its elongated pelvic fins stretch down, holding it upright and still. Meanwhile, it uses its pectoral fins like hands reaching forward. These fins contain enlarged spinal nerves, helping detect water currents. The fish senses objects floating by, from small crustaceans to fish. While these fish are deep, they aren't necessarily the deepest in the ocean. Recently, scientists found a fish living 8,336 meters below the surface. This is the deepest fish ever found, and possibly the deepest anyone will find. They discovered a type of Haddle snailfish, a translucent, scaleless, tadpole-shaped creature. Little is known about this ghostly fish that thrives in Hades' depths. Is this deepest of fish the creepiest? Maybe not, but it lacks beauty. From the ocean's surface down to the depths, these creatures are captivating. Their adaptations are crafted by millions of years of evolution in unique environments. It's clear why deep-sea creatures invoke feelings of creepiness in us. Without robotics, we would never witness these extraordinary beings in their habitat. These technologies allow us to unveil the mysteries of the ocean's deepest realms. The exploration of the deep ocean reveals wonders beyond our imagination. Each creature tells a story of survival and adaptation in extreme conditions. In the end, the ocean's depths are as enchanting as they are terrifying. The natural habitat of ocean creatures is so far removed from our own. For whatever reason, humanity subscribes to the archetype that the sky holds possibilities. We envision euphoric cloud nines and heaven itself. In contrast, the depths hold fears, secrets, and eternal death. Perhaps this is no surprise. As intelligent, air-breathing mammals, we seek the bright and known. What is familiar feels safe to us, while the unfathomable sea remains mysterious. But perhaps our ancestral consciousness failed to grasp the connection of our world. The bountiful rivers and shores we rely on are linked to the deepest parts of the sea. What seems alien is actually a vital part of our world.